You have to know what you're looking for. You should be leaning in. This is not a time to get aggressive, get stupid. This is not a time to pay list price. This is the time to be a deal creator. Yeah, my boy Ty has this great thing. Be a deal engineer. That's what this is about. It is becoming painfully obvious to me that this buyer's market is going to allow real estate investors to get uber creative. I am talking about with Stephen Dow about a 90% CLTV loan. Yes, folks, you can borrow up to 90% on some of these acquisitions. We'll break it down in more detail. I want to catch everybody up on some communication I had with Pace Morby this morning, because again, what I see him doing is exactly what I want all of you to be doing. But before we get into that, we must do the marketing spiel before I forget like last time.
I was just going to interject. Yes, although I work very happily for Velocity Mortgage Capital, all the ideas and topics discussed on this channel are that of my own. So let's get it going.
Yeah, so I was communicating with Pace Morby this morning. He and I are both very much early birds. We're talking 4, 5, 6 a.m. And, when I reach out to him in the morning, he responds because nobody else is awake. So I saw Pace.
Me, Mike. I'm always
there you go.
Dude.
That's true. You're in Texas.
Bags under these eyes, dude. I don't sleep, man. So
there you go. You're a vampire. Well, anyways, I was talking with Pace, and he created something called PaceBuyBox.com. So Pace is first name, buybox.com. And I'm like, Pace, love it. I've been talking buybox forever and all of that. And he came back with, it's game changing, right? Telling people what you're looking for. Because again, one of the things that Pace has done with his community is he gets a lot of deal flow. So he created PaceBuyBox.com because he wants to tell everybody what he's looking to buy. And he's like, Michael, you have no idea. Everybody is running away from this market, but not the good investors. Right. The good investors are stepping in, and we're getting picky. That's what I love. We're getting picky. We're getting creative. He's taking down deals where he's getting seller seconds at 0%. He's getting some seller carry at 2 or 3. He's going to be bigger coming out of this because he's leaning in, but being creative where everybody else is running away. So again, Velocity Mortgage, offers this 90% CLTV loan. I am more convinced than ever that somebody in my community, and probably multiple someone's, you all are going to be buying apartment buildings, 100 units, 200 units with this 90% CLTV loan. So let's break it down for folks. What is a 90% CLTV loan? And then why did you and I create the 50-40-10 kind of spin-off to tell people to go after?
Well, again, the explanation of our allowance of the borrower to be able to get up to a combined loan to value of 90%. What that means is that where I'm limited to a maximum loan to value on my first mortgage at anywhere from 70 to 75%, depending upon property type, that would then allow, in the case of mainly a purchase, where if the seller had enough equity and was willing to carry a small second mortgage behind my first, to combine to a maximum combined loan to value of 90%. So if I'm 70 on the first, seller can carry 20. If I'm 75% on my first, seller can carry 15. That would allow the buyer to only have to come in with the 10% down. So that's allowed a lot of transactions where either borrower didn't have the full down payment, or at the original kind of loan structure, it didn't make sense as far as cash flow, because again, the leverage position, even say if you're getting 80%, LTV today, but at like say 7.5%, there probably might not cash flow. But if you can set up on the 70, on the 50-40-10, where only 50% of your purchase price is at 7s, but your second at 40%, again, as you stated, 0%. I've only got it as low as 1% interest only, 10-year balloon. So the blending of that plus the 7.865, your rate is somewhere in the high 4%, but at a 90% leverage.
It's magic. It's freaking magic. It's when you really understand the 50-40-10, it is pure magic, because it's one of those rare offerings where you can go to the seller and go, hey, I can pay your price, or even sometimes pay a little bit more. You're going to, basically give the middle finger to the IRS, because you're only going to take some of your proceeds now. The other is going to be on what's called an installment loan. Talk to your tax professional. You're going to maintain cash flow without any headaches because you're going to have income from the note.
Mhm.
And then you, the borrower, and this is just the double whammy cherry on top with whipped cream and nuts. Your blended interest rate is going to be sub 5%, sub 5.5% on 90% leverage.
Mhm.
It's just wild. And 30-year fixed. Come on. Really?
I
Is
mean,
there
we
a
can
better
go
product?
on. I mean, if it was on, yeah, if it was on residential properties, it's no ratio. So no tax return, no peso, no W-2, no 24 months of bank statements, and no DSCR. You can hold title under an entity, and the loan doesn't even report to the credit bureaus. So it's like
Yeah.
rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. You find a lot of motivated sellers, you can pick up a lot of properties with this creative kind of product.
Now, the other thing that we're going to say, if you are lucky enough to negotiate a 50-40-10, you could also have horrible credit, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, technically, I could still do this loan with no credit. I did a loan now going on 3 months, 417 FICO.
I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah. Well, I used to think like you got, 400 just to get your name and social security number right. But anyway, 417, we did the 50% LTV first. Seller carried 40, buyer put down 10. And we
Done.
got the seller to credit him towards his non-recurring closing costs. So he used that money to buy the rate down to sub 9%, 30-year fixed with a 417 FICO.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's just nuts. Again, folks, what Pace Morby really was sharing with me this morning is you have to know what you're looking for. You should be leaning in. This is not a time to get aggressive, get stupid. This is not a time to pay list price.
Mm-mm.
This is the time to be a deal creator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my boy Ty has this great thing. Be a deal engineer. That's what this is about. You have to find the right seller. There is no
Mhm.
question, right? A seller who's got no equity is not going to play. But there are plenty of people that would seriously look at this thing because they've had the property listed for 90 days. They've got no offers. In fact, folks, I'll remind you, Cody Davis, a 23, 24-year-old I talk to every
Yep.
Monday.
I've
He just
spoken
did
to him too.
he just did a 7-unit deal where
Uh-huh.
he's going to get 90% CLTV. In this case, he's got I think it was 70% first. He's getting 15% or no, 20% from the seller.
Right.
And he's only bringing 10% in. Again, some of you out there hear this and think it's not possible. Well, for you, it's not because you're not getting it out of your own way.
Right.
A 50-40-10 is absolutely possible. The Matt the Lumberjack did one a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Win-win transaction.
That one was super win-win. Oh my God. I mean, I love
Yeah.
to talk about it, but it just sounds like I'm repeating myself. But yeah, he got some motivated sellers in the sense that they were behind in their payments because they're on limited income. One of the spouses had some health issues. They're falling behind in their payments. They had to kind of resort to like a bridge loan, which kind of put them behind the 8 ball. They had a ton of equity and they were on the brink of potential foreclosure. Matt Lumberjack came in. We did the 50-40-10, lowered their monthly payment because of the rent. Because he
Gave
had to
them
rent it back to
income.
them.
Yeah.
Yep. Gave them passive income, rented it back to them at the lower monthly payment, and yeah, they get to stay in their house forever, basically.
Yeah, it's an
And we gave
amazing
them a good
thing.
chunk of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
and he
it
got
was
some
just a-
cash. Yeah, they
It
got
was
some cash.
incredible. And the property cash flow from day
Yeah.
one with 10% down.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Folks, at the end of the day, we are in a buyer's market. This is the time to be a deal engineer. We've done hours and hours of content on this. Look up Stephen Dow's playlist, non-QM playlist, and it's there for you. We did an hour in school a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I'm just really super excited for people who find opportunities to leverage the 90% CLTV. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, Stephen, and talk about it, get more questions answered, what do they do?
Again, email is going to be the best. You see it down there at sdow@velocitymortgage.com. Please do me a favor, though. Don't forget to put in the subject line the acronym ORaaT, which is short for one rent all the time. That'll help to get past the firewall. Otherwise, a lot of times emails get stuck in quarantine, so I do apologize for delayed responses if that's the case. Otherwise, the body of the email, brief description, what you're looking for, property address is going to be super helpful, at least stating the state to make sure I lend there, your mid-FICO score, and the best phone number to reach you at in typically 24, 48 hours. Unless you get stuck in quarantine, I'll be in touch.
Folks, do me a favor. Leave a comment below if you plan on trying to do a 90% CLTV, aka 50-40-10. I want to know how many of you have that buy box, have the hunger to get one of these deals. Leave comments below. Let me know. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Mike.